I would now like to invite a truly distinguished mind, the Chief Data Scientist at the Center of Excellence in Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning at Reliance Jio. He's a program mentor for the AI and Data Science program at the Jio Institute of Eminence and a visiting faculty of Machine Learning at the Indian School of Business. An innovator who has driven advancements at giants like Google, Yahoo, and Reliance Jio. With more than 20 published papers and 30 patents, he's received several accolades for his groundbreaking work. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Shailesh Kumar. Thank you so much. Please take it.
So we had overdose of Gen AI today, so I'll talk about it. But what I'll do is I'll talk about the thing that is coming, the way we think about very large ecosystems and how do we get ready to build the next 20 years of AI. And then we'll play a small role, but there's a lot more that we need to say. All right. So we call this emergent ecosystem or emergent intelligence. And the story started when one night during COVID, Mr. Ambani called me and he said, "Hey Shailesh, you are building a brain, but you don't have a body to support that." And then it all started that we need to think at three levels about putting an ecosystem together, right? The body, which is the physical part, the operations of a business, the conscious mind, which is what I call the IT part, which is interacting with the people on the ground and our customer, and the most important, the subconscious mind of an enterprise, which is the AI part, right? So we talk about how to integrate all this and how to build, what is the use cases of the next 20 years and how to get it. So I talk about three big ideas. What is the complex ecosystem? Right? It's automated, it's intelligent, it's integrated, and it's real time. So what does that mean? Then I talk about an operating system for an ecosystem. What is an operating system for a smart city or an agriculture ecosystem? Right? How do we think about operating systems beyond mobile phones and cloud? What does that mean? And the third idea I talk about is the marketplace. How do we think about bringing everybody together in the same platform so that we can build the millions and millions of models we need to build to transform the country? Right? So this is hopefully going to be a driving force. So let's talk about complex systems. Now, if you look at the evolution of products, we started with physical products that came with pre-programmed intelligence, right? The car will, put the light on if the petrol is less than the threshold. So they were all programmed intelligence products, product 1.0, physical and instinctive products. Like babies are born with instinct, animals are born with instinct. That's the first generation products. The second generation products we all grew up with had the ability to learn from data and become better over time. So we never built final search engine. It is still going on and improved, right, after 20 years. So this ability that we can collect a lot of data from the crowd and keep improving our systems is what we mastered in the last 20 years with cloud and all of that. Right? So this is a very important phase where we are today. And the reason why we are able to build ChatGPT is also because of this. What is the next generation product going to look like? Let me ask the audience. What do you think, don't talk about LLMs alone. That's technology. What do you think is the next leap in product that is going to happen? Yes? Sorry? Okay. Wow. Okay, very good. Okay, that's it. Very nice. Autonomous, yes. That's a property. Yes. Huh? Right? Alright. So in my mind, we've already started talking about these what we call ecosystem products. So the idea that a smart city is a product, each city is one product, it's an ecosystem. And there are many such ecosystems that we are going to build in the next 20 years, right? So if you think about ecosystems like, smart cities, a connectivity network. The whole network is one ecosystem, right? One Jio, one Airtel, is one ecosystem made up of so many products, components, right? If you think about a refinery or a very large complex system, you already built this product, but the subconscious mind is not acting the way it should. So many parts working together as a whole is an ecosystem, right? If you think about the agriculture ecosystem of a country, not one road, we know how to build roads now. What we don't know is how to connect the satellite data with the soil IoT data, with the supply chain, with the chemicals and the soil quality and export policies of agriculture. We don't know how to connect all that, right? Same thing with healthcare. We know how to build hospitals, which are again an ecosystem, but we don't know how to think about the entire healthcare ecosystem of the country. The next COVID might come soon, so we don't know, how to do it. Retail is a great example of an ecosystem problem. Okay? So that is what we think from a Reliance perspective are going to be the next generation products. And why are they different from Google search, for example? I'll take a specific example. They will have billions of entities of hundreds of types, because search has queries, ads, URLs. 3 types of entities, 20 years, 20,000 engineers changed the planet. But now we are heading into hundreds of types of entities. If you look at telecom, we will have entities like the SIM card, the devices, the cell tower, people on the ground, the grid, buildings, all of that, right? So that is one type of complexity. Another is we'll have billions of interactions of very, many types. People are joining the system, leaving the system, making a payment, doing a phone call, downloading something. So you should start feeling the complexity of the type of entities and types of interactions. We have hundreds of metrics. So if you think about search metrics, Google's, Gmail spam metrics, YouTube recommendation metrics, they're all independent of each other. But in a complex ecosystem, those metrics will be interacting with each other, right? The business metrics, the customer metrics, the environmental metrics, operational metrics will be all interconnected to each other. And then we have hundreds of workflows. When we think of Google, it's, give us a query, give me the results. It's a very simple workflow. Obviously, there's a lot of subconscious stuff that happens in the background. But here we'll be having many, many workflows. So I talk about all these ideas in a little bit. So how do we handle this complexity? So we think of ecosystems as a cross product of some horizontals and verticals. If you look at your own body, it's a complex ecosystem. It has a conscious and a subconscious mind, and it has workflows, and it has systems. So we have 5 systems, and we have workflows. When you eat food, a workflow gets started. When we fall sick, another workflow gets started. Right? So we have workflows and systems. So it's a system thinking kind of approach. So what we've done, we looked at all the workflows in all the various businesses in the conglomerate, and we grouped them into different types of workflows. So some are very simple execution workflows. Somebody ordered something on Agio. How do you make sure it is getting delivered? So there's nothing weird about it. It's just an execution workflow. Then exceptions happen all the time, right? Cell towers are down, product is out of stock, weather is bad, somebody is not well. So these are all exception workflows. How do you discover, predict, and act on these exceptions? Then we think in terms of expansion workflows. How do you want to grow your business, right? Where to open the next store, where to put the next cell tower, which customer segment to grow, in what feature to add. So whether you're thinking about a customer growth, market growth, product growth, what does that expansion workflow look like? Then an efficiency workflow. How do you measure efficiency of your system and make sure it is at peak efficiency, right? At Ola, how to measure efficiency, right? Delivery, supply chain, all kinds of efficiencies. And then, we have 2 very important workflows. How do you explain everything? Root cause analysis of it, right? Why did the customer shut? Can you do? This customer care call, can you explain that? Can you explain, other things? So why is the model saying what it is saying? Why is the LLM saying that? So all these explanation workflows. And the last is what we call evolution workflows, which basically say every AI model has to continuously evolve, right? We've seen how Google has evolved over the last 20 years. Now we talk about hundreds or thousands of models. How are they going to evolve? Are they going to be retrained every day, every week, every hour, every quarter? How are we going to think about their evolution? Right? So very quickly, here's an example of an exception work. Right? And what we do, we think about monitor everything. all your sensor data, monitor everything. Now, the most important thing we do, mistake a lot of companies do is they think of a dashboard as a very holy thing. For me, dashboard is one of the graveyards of data. And I'll give a talk on why I think about it. The right dashboard is not something that tells me what all is going on in my business. The right dashboard is the one that tells me what is not going well in my business. How do I discover the emerging issues? How do I discover exceptions? Software people know this. We put a lot of exception checking. But what about the business, right? So how do we discover exceptions? Maybe before they happen. How do we predict exceptions? How do we analyze the root cause? How do we then, that's another area. I think one of the big areas of AI will be doing the complex root cause analysis, planning, reasoning, thinking. Those ideas are going to be very important in the future. How do you synthesize an action? How do you execute an action? The mind-body problem. How do you measure impact? And then how do you learn? Maybe we didn't discover the right issue. Maybe we didn't analyze it properly. Maybe we didn't synthesize the right action. How do we then? Right? So this is just an example of exception work. The other thing we think in terms of the systems, right? So we are built of 5 systems. Enterprises are built of 5 systems. One is a system of sensors. All your data coming in, different formats, different rates, is your system of sensors. All the then system of records, which is how do you think in terms of storing your raw data, storing your features, storing your labels, storing your content, storing your predictions, and storing your optimizations and decisions and metrics. The whole thing is a system of record, not just the raw data. So we need to expand the notion of what is system of record. System of intelligence, we all understand. How do we make sure every component of all the workflows, wherever AI is needed? So one of the themes here is AI is not a separate thing, and IT and the rest of it is separate thing. It's an embedded system, so we don't really think about it as an outside. So how do we build all this, evolve all this? What is the model life cycle that we think about? System of operations. We have digital operations and physical operations. Like we are living in a digital physical world, right? Now Uber is a digital physical ecosystem. So physical operation and digital, both how do we do it well? Because that's an output, right? The hands and legs of an organization. System of interface is about the conscious mind, which is saying, how are customers interacting with my business? How are my own ground operation people interacting with my business? How do we think about these two? And then system of integration is going to tie all this together, right? How do we integrate the data coming on one side, analysis happening, optimizations happening, groundwork happening, operations? We need that ecosystem. Hundreds of AI startups by themselves will do great stuff, but until we integrate all of them together, we are not going to make it. And that is reality that I learned because from Reliance perspective, integration becomes a bigger issue. Right? So integration is the next big innovation necessary. So an example of workflow thinking, if you think about orders coming on one side, demand forecasting happening from the same orders, allocation happening on those orders, profiling happening and recommendation happening on those orders, and replenishment happening. These are examples of the major 5 workflows that are common to all e-commerce verticals, right? This can be applied to fashion industry and whatever else. In terms of, now we are working at operating system for the country level, and we are thinking, instead of doing one use case here, one use case there, how do we put it all together? What is an operating system for agriculture look like? So the idea is, imagine so many events are generated all the time in a very asynchronous manner, right? Weather warnings, satellite data is telling me something, farmer took a photo of a crop, there's a pest outbreak somewhere. All these events are happening all the time asynchronously. How are we going to handle that operating system? So we need an operating system which is also, it has deep knowledge of every farm. What is grown here, what is the NPK level, what is the moisture today, yesterday, tomorrow going to be, and all that. We need all kinds of models, not one model here and one model there, in a very standardized form. So we should be able to say, given a photo, what is the disease, given a soil IoT, what is the deficiency, given the satellite data, what should we do, what is the omics of the plant, genomics, what should we do. Bringing all the models together is a bigger problem. Building all the models is a solved problem. Yeah? Then, how do we think about the knowledge base of agriculture? We are going to head into reasoning and thinking now. How would a like a agriculture expert will think about an answer that this guy is asking. And then how do we think about all the content in all languages that we talk about? And then from there, the output could be, imagine an advisory going to every farmer every day what to do. To government advisories are going, stock up on onion here, reactions are coming, whatever, right? Supply chain, dashboards, export advisory, all kinds of advisory, right? To chemical companies, to fertilizer companies. So imagine an ecosystem that can handle this is the next big product. That is the next big platform at a country level that we need to build. Same thing with healthcare, I won't go into the depth of it, but we all get a sense that these operating systems need to be now created. Education, again, we talk about how students are struggling, and in a digital physical school, what would the education look like? So there are events coming in a digital education system, and we'll have complete understanding of every student's learning path, personalization models for content, curriculum, and everything, and an education content like all the building blocks sort of are there. We just have to integrate and make sure we are able to give advisories to students, right? So this is a general framework or design pattern that is emerging. Now let's talk about the third big idea. How do we do this? So there are two infrastructures, public infrastructures I'm talking about. One is how do we think about these operating systems? ONDC is an example of that. UPI is an example of that, but this is still more complex. That was the first infrastructure. The second infrastructure is the marketplace of AI, right? So if you think about the AI stack for Bharat, what would it look like? Somebody would have to sit down and say, what are all the sectors? Who are the beneficiaries? What are the products and applications they use? What kind of services they need? And within AI, what are the AI services they need? And who is going to build it, right? And the idea is, all of us together will build this, right? So companies like Google and Microsoft will build certain models, ISROs and BART will build certain models, students will build certain models. And my dream is to see that I did a PhD from somewhere and my model got deployed and immediately got made available to millions of users. How do I make that gap between research and production possible? And like we saw the movie Ratatouille, everybody can cook. I think in the future, with ChatGPT, anybody can build models if you have great ideas. So how do we engage the whole community here to change the way we think about AI as everybody participating in this ecosystem, right? And we can see the sense the next 20 years we are going to be very, very busy building on this for the country and all that. There is a concept of what a marketplace will do, and hopefully the video will play. Let me try this. So this is an app we built for Machli app for fishermen. Now imagine a guy in Kerala who is very passionate about fishery. He built an app for fishermen of the country and said, hey, I will tell you where to go to fish and weather warnings and all that. So he built an app, but obviously he built it in English. And then he realized, oh, I need to build it in the 10 languages in the coastal region. And then he realized, I want to make it speech-enabled. So the domain guy, the consumer of AI, is a domain guy. He understands fisheries very well. He doesn't know how to build a text-to-speech model in all 10 languages. Those are the producers of AI. And he's the consumer of AI. And the whole idea of marketplace is to bring the producer and consumer together. Right? So what will happen? Let's hope this works. So in opening the app, I hope the audio will work. Okay, the audio is not working. So wherever we are pressing the English button, the app speaks to me. What is your phone number? So all the menus are spoken because we have an English text-to-speech model in my marketplace. Right? Can you increase the volume? So now he's choosing there's no audio coming. Right? So we understand the gap now that an app is there. We know how to run it in English, but we don't know. Now imagine somewhere else in the country, somebody who doesn't know that that app exists, goes to this website and says, I am the best, Telugu text-to-speech model. I am going to, with a few clicks on this website, I'll upload my model. That's all he does. He doesn't know the 200 applications of this. He's just uploading a model somewhere, and suddenly what happens to this app? Suddenly this app is now speaking. And that is the without really wanting to hire a text-to-speech team or work with all the APIs that work for long run. Now imagine that there are producers of AI pumping models in a standardized API format, right? So the consumers will use standardized APIs, right? So we need to bring standardization to AI is a very big area. Then for each API, text-to-speech in Telugu, hundreds of people can contribute their models, right? Whichever is the best model for the price will get activated and that guy will get monetized, pretty much like how Ola Uber works. And now, we create a new economy. We don't have to carry competitions anymore. We can actually put our models here and suddenly the country will benefit and we will monetize our models. And now there is an inherent competition that is there. And once this system is in place, the new data will keep getting collected. It becomes part of the national data stack. And now everybody is equal on compute and data. That's what, if we can enable, that everybody can contribute to this system. So these are the two important infrastructures. One is the operating system at a horizontal level. How do we think about all the workflows in all the social and business sectors? And within the AI part of it, how do we think about AI not done by one data science team, but anybody, right? And so then we democratize AI on one side and make sure it is available through the workflows too. So those are the two big infrastructures. So the journey is very straightforward. We all understand that digitization is still not happened everywhere. We have a lot of data which is still physical, right? Handwritten reports, printed blood test reports, and all that. So we are heading in the world of digital first data, remaining digital. It won't be generated for humans anymore. It will be generated for AI first, then for humans, right? So we live in a world where we print out the stuff for a doctor to see it. That world is over, right? So digitalization, automation, intelligence, democratization, like we said, I should not have to struggle to build an AI first app like the Machine app, because I can go to a marketplace, get whatever APIs I want in a standard format and build my app, and I don't have to worry about whether the models are improving or not. There are humans of the world and others who can keep improving on the models, right? Inclusion is very important. How do we build AI for the masses, right? We have so far built it for the urban, elite, English-speaking, tech-savvy people. But what about the blind? What about the non-tech-savvy? Speech is going to play a very, very important role. And we heard Ramesh talk about the speech first kind of application, and personalization of everything, education, healthcare is going to have, agriculture, all that will be personalized. It's a shame that Netflix is personalized, but education is not personalized, right? So I think our priorities have to shift, and India's AI strategy paper really focused only on social use cases. Only 4: healthcare, agriculture, education, smart cities, smart mobility. That's it. If we just take these 5, I think we'll become a billion, whatever billion we want. And last is building trust, and we all talk about hallucination and other things. Right? So if we can handle this, I think we have a roadmap here, and hopefully we all can work together to get it. Thank you so much.